Welcome back, everybody, to the Proving Grounds Open Qualifier presented by Unified. I'm Graves, this is Hawk. We know it's been a bit of a wait, and we'd like to thank you all for staying with us at this time, but we hope the wait was worth it, because we have a very exciting Round 2 matchup here in the second round of the Swiss bracket. Radiance versus Supernova, some of the two most storied organizations in the semi-professional scene, here to duke it out for that 2-0 record.
Yeah, Graves, I can tell you with certainty that the wait is worth it. Like you said, Radiance against Supernova. What an incredible matchup. Two storied amateur organizations with very, very new rosters going to be duking it out here on the Rift for our second game of the day. It is certain to be a great one.
Absolutely. Both of these teams won their first round matchup. Radiance against University of Michigan. Supernova taking that victory as well. And they were both pretty one-sided matchups, to say the least. Just taking a look at some of the match histories. Obviously, we were busy casting a game, so we couldn't have watched exactly what was happening. But I want to start with Radiance really quickly, Hawk, because there's an interesting statistic here that I think a lot of the viewers will find really cool. Radiance has the youngest average age out of any lineup that are here in the open qualifiers. I believe it is 17.2 is the average years here. So the average player on Radiance still not even an official adult. And a lot of that is down in their mid-jungle duo here in Bluster, the 16-year-old, and our newcomer here, Crimson, in the mid lane, who a lot of people might not be super familiar with, but has some really cool familial history.
Yeah, Crimson, many of you may know General Sniper, also in this tournament on 100X. He's the twin brother of General Sniper, and of course, that means he's also the brother of Viper. So, Crimson is also here, 15 years old, ready to prove himself here in the open qualifier alongside his brother. So, very, very exciting stuff. And as you mentioned, this team is crazy young. We've got 15, 16, 17, 18, and 20 years old for these players. I mean, let that sink in. They're all younger than me, right? That's crazy. So these players are here. And the fact that they're all playing together is incredible. And not only that, but the fact that they're performing well.
Yeah, and all of these players in either their first or their second competitive year of experience here. In the top lane, we have TC Porsche, who's currently the top laner of the University of St. Thomas down in the collegiate scene. And down in the bot lane, we got Raheen and Light Pulse, two players who did very well for themselves in the amateur circuit. Raheen specifically, the ADC, as a member of Zeus Gaming. You remember that team being full of veterans, players like Alorum, Griffin, and Tuesday. And Raheen was kind of that rookie that had to step in, be that young star in the bottom lane. And apparently, what we've heard is that Raheen has really stepped up and been more of a role model, kind of, passing the torch a little bit to some of these younger players, which I think is really, really cool.
Yeah, I think that's incredible as well. The fact that Raheen has sort of taken all the experience that he was given by the veterans on Zeus, and now the fact that he's been able to at least attempt to translate that to his teammates is absolutely massive. And just another quick little stat for you guys about the story of these organizations as we do get into draft. Radiance and Supernova have played in 3 UPL finals. I mean, that is incredible. They faced off, I should say, in 3 UPL finals against each other. So the fact that they have gone up against each other at that high level of the amateur scene is just absolutely crazy. So these are two storied organizations looking to beat each other down. It all starts here with the Game 2 draft.
Yeah, and I think it's safe to say that these are two of the most storied organizations that we have, period, in the amateur space. I mean, both these teams have been around for so long, have had so many levels of success, and we're going to see both of them with very, very strong lineups here as we have entered the draft for Game 2 here of the Open Qualifier. Like to say, first of all, that I've actually gotten both of the signs right in order on the screen. It's a complete random guess, but so far it's been going good here on the stream. Yasuo start offing the bans here for Supernova. Don't want to get that into the hands of Crimson, who is a very well-known Yasuo and Yone player. Radiance on the other side will ban away Fire Thief's Camille.
Yeah, Supernova not letting the young prodigy get his hands on his main. And I can't blame them. You don't want Crimson popping off in this one. That is for sure. And Camille makes a lot of sense as a ban. It's just pretty much the best dueling top laner in the meta. She has been for quite a long time now. The champion is still extremely good. So taking out that one just denies a lot from Fire Theft and will allow Porsche to do what he wants on the top side.
Speaking of Porsche, Gangplank taken off the table here by Supernova, which is a team that we haven't had to have too much time to talk about so far in this segment of this show. But Supernova is a really interesting team here.
Absolutely.
One of the storied organizations here in the amateur circuit, but they actually have gone more towards the collegiate scene in terms of building their roster for this year. Their top jungle and support were all members of Arizona State University in the previous year and are all, that's some of that previous energy that can really work out together. And, it worked really well in game one. Excited to see it moving forward as we continue to go on through the draft with that Lulu and potentially a Syndra taken off the board.
Yeah, and not only have these players played together, or some of them played together at Arizona State University, but it's also been said by Supernova's coach that Becco has meshed really well, particularly with Ariandel there in the mid lane. So another 2v2 matchup that could really make some waves here in this tournament. So that will also be something to keep our eyes on. And then, of course, Psycho, honestly, in a similar boat to Raheen, he didn't start as much in PG 2021. However, he still was surrounded by a lot of veterans on that Wildcard Black roster, so perhaps being able to bring a bit of experience to these newcomers as well will provide a good boon. And speaking of the mid-jungle 2v2, taking out LeBlanc, insanely strong skirmish champion, not letting Ariandel get his hands on that.
Yeah, taking away LeBlanc from Ariandel, definitely a very, very valuable thing. Rise still on the table for the Supernova mid laner as we are headed into the pick phase of this draft. Caitlyn is being hovered and will likely be that first pick here for Supernova. So getting Psycho in to a very, very strong lane matchup, going to have a whole lot of range advantage, maybe paired along something else that's ranged. It's just kind of a trend that we've been seeing recently throughout the first games here at the Okies.
Yeah, the bot lane meta is very interesting in this tournament. Didn't get a huge chance to talk about it in our first game because it wasn't quite as much the focus, but with the Caitlyn getting locked in, definitely something I want to focus on with that. Caitlyn is an exceptionally strong laning ADC, and it allows you to play almost any support with her and still dominate the lane. And not only that, but you can play both Enchanter supports, as you just mentioned, as well as tank supports effectively in the current meta. So it creates like an interesting interaction where some teams want to go for tank supports, some teams want to go for Enchanters, some teams can do both, but it depends on the composition of what you're trying to do. So seeing how the meta sort of evolves in the bottom lane over this tournament, I think will be very exciting. Now, the Jhin locked in is very good at neutralizing the Caitlyn. It provides excellent utility for the team and doesn't care too much if it gets pushed in, so I think this makes a lot of sense, paired alongside the Lee Sin for Bluster.
Yep, Bluster gonna get his hands on a very, very aggressive jungle pick, which has kind of been the playstyle that him and Crimson have been going for in this mid-jungle 2v2. Bluster, formerly of Evil Genius's Prodigies, taking his skills from the LCS affiliate now on to Radiance. On the other side, Supernova are going to lock in that Jin Zhao to try and match up against Lee Sin. We saw Jin Zhao be very impactful in our first game of the day on this side I think it was, who was the player that we did in the last game? It's been so long, Hawk. I don't even remember. Jesus.
Oh, man. No, it was Sammy that had the Sins out in the last game. Yeah, you had an hour-long break. Don't beat yourself up too hard. But, I mean, it makes a lot of sense as a pick, too. Xin Zhao, another strong early-game jungler, can make a lot of plays, and it does well in most matchups, including the Lee Sin. We've seen a lot of high Xin Zhao priority, and it's good at enabling all three lanes for teams. But speaking of Enchanter supports, there's the Karma coming through, as well as the Lux actually being a potential flex pick. It could go both mid or support in the current meta. It's an exceptionally strong laning support, and it's a pretty uninteractive mid laner if you're just looking for something to push and roam. So I feel like that pick could make a lot of sense in both places and gets a lot of draft tempo for the Supernova lineup.
Yeah, and if the Lux is going down towards the bottom lane, it would be a very, very high range 2v2 that Psycho and Pseudo have set up for themselves. Jhin, of course, a little bit more lower range alongside Light Pulse on the Karma, so would probably see a lot of heavy bottom lane priority for the side of Supernova, which is a thing that can happen a lot more often, especially with some of the recent teleport changes that have gone through. We're headed into the second phase of the bans. It looks like some more focus to the mid lane here for Radiance as that Galio for Ariandel taken off the table.
Yeah, lots of focus here on Ariandel. I mean, being one of the two people that hasn't picked, it does make a lot of sense. It seems like Radiance is going to try to deny champions that can enable Becco here on the Xin Zhao. You don't want them to dive bottom, as you just said, with the super strong Caitlyn and potentially Lux. With the Galio and his Xin Zhao too, that sudden becomes extremely scary because, as you mentioned, while Jhin is a decent laner, he's not going to have the same pushing power as his Caitlyn. He will get pushed in, he will get poked out, and he is at threat of getting dove alongside this Karma. So denying champions that can do that is effective. Likewise, Corki can go bottom side, very good at dragon fights with the package, and as mentioned in the previous game as well, super uninteractive laning phase, very good at scaling up and being a huge team fight threat.
On the other side, though, it looks like some more focus towards the solo lanes against Radiance, that Wukong for Porsche taking off the table, as well as that flex pick in the Aurelia, another melee AD mid laner that Crimson can definitely pop off on. We head into the second phase of the picks. Both teams have to select, I believe, their solo laners, unless that Lux is going into mid lane.
Yeah, with the Rise lock-in, I would expect the Lux to still go down to the bottom lane to support. I mean, clearly Radiance thinks the Lux is going down to support with the mid lane bans. However, it is still, again, it's a viable flex. It just depends on really what your composition wants to do. However, Lux, extremely strong lane with the Caitlyn, so it would be expected. Now, Supernova, it will be their response, as well as a blind pick Mundo. Super, super safe blind pick in the current meta. It's got good pushing power. It's incredibly hard to take down. Unless you're going to play something crazy, it's probably just going to be a handshake lane here for Porsche.
Yep, Porsche typically it's not super unfamiliar with playing weak side. Back on the University of St. Thomas, definitely did a whole lot of that alongside of that bot lane of Array and Trevor. And so maybe we'll see some more of that against this Mundo. We're seeing a Twisted Fate locked in here for Ariandel, though. We're talking about champions that he can really impact all across the map. This is definitely one of them. Trying to match up against Crimson's Rise will definitely be crucial. It's in all the sorts of the side lanes.
Yeah, Ariandel has a pretty nice Twisted Fate too, so I'm really excited to see this one come out. I mean, Supernova, they have a very clearly defined composition. They want to Caitlyn ahead, they want to take towers, they want to take tower plates, they want to take dragons, and their composition is well built to do that. As mentioned, it's exceptionally difficult to attack a Dr. Mundo on the top side, even with the Gwen doing true damage and potentially taking Ignite in the matchup. So I'm really looking at what Bluster can get done for Radiance in this early game in his isolated matchup. If he's able to attack this Xin Zhao, that might be somewhere where we're able to find a lead if you are Radiance, right? But your bot lane's probably going to get pushed in. Your mid matchup is not the most favorable. It's pretty much a handshake matchup. Rise isn't going to 1v9 the game, and Mundo, as we said, so hard to take down.
Yeah, definitely so. And on the other side for Radiance here, it's going to be Porsche locking in that Gwen. Going to be a pretty safe and pretty decent matchup here into that Dr. Mundo over on Fire Theft side. So probably not expecting too much, super hard engage here as we get the nice little transition into just us on the screen here. But just very excited for this game overall. Once again, Hawk, just two very storied organizations going at it here. And there's just still so much more League of Legends to play. And seeing these two teams already facing off in round 2 is very, very exciting.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with that. These organizations, as we've said a bunch of times now, I have so much history to them, and getting to see them play each other now in the 2022 Spring Proving Ground Open qualifier here on Unified Live is just an absolute pleasure. But I do want to talk a little bit more about what we can expect out of Radiance's composition. I feel like we talked a lot about what Supernova wants to do, but one big thing that I feel like Supernova needs to be careful of, and Radiance could potentially look to exploit, is the fact that if their bot lane does not fall too far behind, if Raheen and Light Pulse are able to, if they're able to sort of survive this lane, get out of even this Karma, this Lee Sin, this Gwen, the Rise running at you in the mid to late game could be absolutely terrifying for the side of Supernova, especially when they have a composition that's not actually particularly good at starting their own plays. I mean, you're looking at Xin Zhao to hard engage, a Twisted Fate ultimate, which is great when all three lanes are being played on, but as you move towards those 5v5s, it's a little bit less effective.
Yeah, and you're talking about that mid lane just a little bit in terms of the ability to roam here. I want to talk about Crimson really quickly here. Once again, that mid laner for Radiance, the younger brother of Viper, the twin of General Sniper, on the rise, which is something that we haven't seen too much out of him in terms. When you look at his solo queue account, you see a lot of champions like the Yasuo and the Yone, but I think something that Crimson has really been trying to improve on before he really gets into competitive play was his ability to kind of play more of these control mages, be able to impact the map a lot more. And I think having him on this rise will be a really good test to see how he's able to function on this. Some of the Syndra in the last game, he did pretty damn well on that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, we all love the edgy brothers, Yasuo and Yone, to play them in solo queue, right? And Crimson clearly does too. And he's very, very good on them, obviously. But if you want to be a competitive player, you've got to show that you can play multiple styles. And Crimson is doing just that here but we are on the Rift. It is Supernova on the blue side up against Radiance on the red.
Game 2 here of the Unified Proving Grounds Open Qualifier. Both these teams are sitting at 1-0. Looking to stay undefeated as we wrap up day 1 of the OQs. We're seeing another 5-stack bot lane, Hawk. I know it's been a while since we got into game, but remember, we saw some crazy action happen in that last one with those 5 stacks.
Yeah, we did. We saw first blood go down in the last game. I know that was ancient history compared about 2 hours ago now, but yeah, we saw the first blood go down. Fortunately for the side of Supernova, Radiance did not decide to counter it. They just went for the standard 5-point. However, what this will probably mean is that Supernova might have early bot lane priority due to that extra ward getting put down. So nice potential advantage for them. However, not really too much going to come of it at the end of the day.
Definitely. See a nice little ward there placed by Crimson as both the junglers are looking to probably start around their top sides. Important to note, just before we head into the game, Winter we'll be referring to as Bluster, the jungler over on Radiance's side. Has a bit of a name change as we are on the live client, but uh-oh, Psycho might actually be in a bit of trouble here. Before the lane even begins, Raheen is trying to block Psycho's path to escape, and that is first blood going over to the Radiance bottom laner.
Yeah, huge first blood. We were talking about Raheen potentially being a big catalyst for this team, and now being able to pick up a level 1 first blood. Not only do you get the kill, but Psycho is going to miss out big time here. That is absolutely massive for the team here on the red side in Radiance.
Absolutely, and Pseudo is not really going to be able to do too much here, as Raheen will get a free reset off after that first wave ends up crafting. Actually, going to end up staying, not wanting to really give up some of the lane pressure that they've already established for themselves in that 2v2, as yeah, they're just going to try to continue their dominance in that regard. Junglers will be starting on opposite sides of the maps, with Baeko going towards the bottom side, Radiance on Bluster going towards the top.
Yeah, absolutely. Mismatched jungle pathing here for the side of these teams does mean that there is potential to make a play. No major summoners were blown on the bot side. Psycho actually even held onto the heal down there on the due to the ignite thrown down on the light poles. Felt like he couldn't get out. I actually almost wonder if that might have been enough to turn around a kill on Raheen, but either way, it does look like we might see a gank coming in here on the mid lane towards Ariandel. Flash!
Oh, they're flashing forward. There's Bluster coming through with the Sonic Wave, the flash to follow. And Bluster and Crimson, that very, very young mid-jungle duo, picking up an early 2v2, showing what they got.
Yeah, absolutely massive. That's what you want to get ahead. We talked about some of these mid-jungle 2v2 synergies, and Crimson and Bluster, the young players on the side of Radiance, they pick up another one, and it's a 1,000 gold lead at just 3 minutes.
Man, this is getting out of control pretty quickly, Hawk. We gotta tell Supernova to slow it down just a little bit. We want to cast a very, you know, more even game of League of Legends here, but right now it's just all been Radiance, and right now, again, that mid-jungle duo of Crimson and Bluster really doing the work.
Yeah, it's just flawless execution on the gank. I mean, the wave is bouncing away from Ariandel after the early push from Crimson, and then Flash Root, easy kill. Just beautifully done. Flash does not matter for Ariandel. And getting this Lee Sin ahead could be absolutely massive. I mentioned how, you know, I wanted to see where Bluster would be able to attack early game on this Lee Sin. I said directly at the Xin Zhao, but mid lane works too. I mean, you've got a Rise. That is a targeted route. Easy follow-up for the Xin Zhao and this vulnerable Twisted Fate, and an easy pickup on the kill.
Absolutely. Psycho and Pseudo trying their best to get back into this lane. Remember, this is still that Caitlyn Lux that can really do a whole lot in terms of poking out. So even though Raheen did get that first blood, remember, he has not taken a reset yet, and Psycho and Pseudo have gotten the better of the early push. But again, with the reset coming through, Raheen does have those swiftness boosts. Got to take a look towards the mid lane. Looks like Bluster wants to get fight, but here comes Baeko as well, doing a whole lot of damage on the Crimson. Actually going to flash forward when it becomes lightning. The wild cards from Ariandel will take down the Radiance mid laner, as Bluster will just have to watch.
Really clean counter gank right here comes through from Baeko, able to turn around a kill for his mid laner, and this definitely will go a long way in stabilizing the game. Ariandel's wave was in a very poor position, pushed up there in the mid lane, so Baeko comes over, makes the counter gank happen. There's just not enough tankiness on Crimson without the flash available, not enough peel from Bluster on the Lee Sin, and that is a trade kill going back over, and actually a farm advantage as well for Ariandel. Puts him ahead in the one-on-one matchup, because remember, it was the Lee Sin that picked up the kill for the side of Radiance.
Yeah, take a look at that, Hawk. Right after that kill, gold right back into Supernova's favor. So it was looking a bit dicey here for them. Whoa, okay.
What? Hey, all right. There's another
I mean,
one.
lightning strikes twice, I guess. That's Crimson and Bluster coming again from the mid lane.
Yep, I'm going to assume that that was a targeted route into Dead Rise. I'm sure we might get to see that one again, but, you know, you were talking about how the gold swung back into Supernova's favor. Not back there anymore. However, the farm in bot lane, as well as that brief farm advantage in mid lane that I had just mentioned, were most likely contributing to that. But most of all, the gold is still pretty even despite the kills, as we will get to see this one again. It is the interrupt onto Bluster, and is he just going to walk up and root him? Oh,
Let's see.
they're farming his
yeah,
tents.
That's
yeah,
it.
the walk up and root technology comes through, and Ariandel gets taken down right there. As we might see a dive on the bot side.
And Bluster, yeah, they're continuing to go for plays. It looks like every single time we come back into the client, it is Radiance looking to make the moves. There's Pseudo going very, very dangerously low, and he will end up falling. Fire Theft is here with the teleport to try and re-engage. Ariandel will pick the kill onto Bluster, and now the rest of Radiance has to try and run for the hills. Light Pulse has to flash away. It doesn't look like any follow-up will be there just yet, but Fire Theft going to flash forward with the Cleaver, trying to get in onto Crimson, and it looks like they will be able to do so as Ariandel picks up kill number 3 for himself.
It's the full commitment on the bottom side for both teams, but importantly, Porsche decides not to expend the teleport. Meanwhile, Fire Theft with the not even unleashed TP, able to go to the tower. Psycho gonna drop.
One more? There he goes. Raheen once again picking up kill number 2. But Hawk, as you were saying, that's the teleport advantage coming through with the new patch. Porsche had no way to get in there. It was just Fire Theft there to defend and Fire Theft there to pick up the win there for Supernova. Yeah,
with the new teleport changes, Porsche would have had to TP to his own turret, which is so far away from that fight. Meanwhile, Fire Theft could go right into the middle of the fight and help clean up the kill. Really nice flash cleaver, recognizing that Rise was still level 5, and Ariandel with the Twisted Fate ultimate to support means that there's a numbers advantage and a kill advantage. Ultimately, the trade back on a Psycho makes it a 2 for 2. However, a good punch back from Supernova to keep this game close, as the gold is about 1,000 in favor of Radiance at 7.5.
We take a look at some of the farm advantages here. Porsche with taking advantage of that teleport that Fire Theft ended up using, now finding himself up about 20 CS. On the down towards the bottom side, pretty even, and in the mid lane, just slightly favored towards Ariandel. But when it's all said is done, still Radiance, basically with just the kills being the difference here in the gold. So still a very, very close game. That Dragon still hasn't been taken yet, as we see Bako making his way down towards the bottom side of the map. There's just still a whole lot more game to play here in this game, round 2.
Yeah, a lot more to play. Bluster has snuck onto a control ward. There is bot lane priority currently for the side of Supernova, so a play could get turned around should it happen. Maybe just posturing for a countering gank, but no, it seems like everyone's just going to walk away, and a Dragon will be taking down. This does get priority on the top side of the map for a Rift Herald or a dive on top should they choose to take it. Realm Warp is available, and Porsche has the Ignite to cut some of that healing. We'll have to see. Nope, it looks like it's just going to be the Herald play, which is still ultimately a trade of neutral objectives between the two teams.
Yeah, I was really hoping that Crimson and Bluster would have gone for that dive in the top side. Might not have been the smartest idea, but with the amount of
good respect from Fire Theft to back off there.
Yeah, I mean I was really expecting it, but we're not going to see that just yet. Just will be the Rift Herald picked up before Bluster.
Here we go.
Top side. Supernova though making a bit of a play down towards bottom lane. They see that really juicy bounty on Raheen's head, and looks like Supernova want to try to go for a potential dive. Radiance has kind of sniffed it out a little bit, but Light Pulse is still in a whole lot of trouble. Ariandel again, just picking up every single kill here for Supernova on this Twisted Fate.
Yeah, beautiful commit right there again from Supernova. Remember, Radiance was just behind on the play, with the Dragon was already gone by the time they started Herald, so that they were able to still have priority on the bot side. We will see a dive top.
There we go. Yep, and that is just all too easy over for Radiance. So farewell to Fire Theft, and another kill going over to Radiance as the Rift Herald will go down as well. Taking a look at this replay though, very aggressive dive here by Supernova, going for the aggressive plays.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a beautiful flash commit, Twisted Fate ultimate coming out on top, able to take down the support with no flash right there. Turret did go down on the top side with that Herald. Shelly able to knock off the last 2 plates and even get a cheeky little charge on the top side. So gold actually probably favoring Radiance in this play. However, another kill onto Ariandel, 4-2-0. Maybe a Twisted Fate, not exactly where you want your kills, but it doesn't feel too bad when he's the one likely to be in every single fight. As well as getting that Dragon stacking going means that Supernova is still feeling all right about the current game state.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, the kills, maybe they'd be in the better hands of someone like Psycho, but Ariandel still definitely a very, very strong carry player. Even on champions like this Twisted Fate is just so good at, getting all around the map and making his impact known. And getting these kills definitely not the worst thing for him. Getting that 100% kill rate right there is not something you see every day, but as we head into the later mid-game stages of this game too, still Radiance with about a 1,500 gold lead, as they're just looking to continue to
Raheen.
maybe
He has
push
Cleanse
here.
Flash.
Raheen could be in a bit of trouble here.
Nice check. Yeah, nice check right there from Raheen with the Lotus Trap, able to get out without using any of those summoners. But, 100% kill participation on Twisted Fate here for Ariandel. Maybe not what you're always expecting, but it definitely feels pretty damn good to see your rookie Twisted Fate getting involved in these plays and keeping the team up with a team of the caliber of Radiance. I mean, we've been talking about how these are really young players, but they're very good players. They are some solo queue gods, for lack of a better term. They play so well in solo queue. They're mechanically incredible, and it seems like they've got pretty good macro too, as it's going to be a fight.
Ring the alarms. We got a party down here in the bottom lane. Baco already having to pop that ultimate, but the snipe from Pseudo will secure the first kill over onto Light Pulse. Bluster will get one back onto Baco as a trade, just a 1-for-1, but it could have been a whole lot more.
Yeah, Party Rock is in the bot lane tonight, as we do see junglers clash in the blue side jungle of Radiance. Ultimately is a 1-for-1. No harm, no foul right there. Support traded for jungler. Just a kill for a kill, not too much else. However, bot lane priority again, still staying in favor of Supernova. And this bot lane turret is so low. Remember, no Herald to help this one. They might just take it down.
Watch Bluster, though. He's here to try and go for the flank. Psycho is just running straight into the curtain call, as Raheen now has to be a little bit careful, as Ariandel has come through with the Destiny. One more auto from Psycho will do, as Ariandel is the one who lands the final blow onto the bot laner here for Radiance. Now Bluster is the one who has to try and get away. Ariandel lands the gold card, lands the Q, and gets another kill. But here comes Crimson. He has a lot of damage with the spell flux, but he gets stunned up and taken down. Psycho with the double kill, and the health bars are so low on Supernova, but they end up on top, going 4-for-0.
Psycho living up to his name, 4-for-0 in the bottom lane. Everybody wants to party around the dead turret, but it's Psycho flashing in on the Jhin, even as he gets taken low. And you know what's so important is there's no rise for so long in this fight. Meanwhile, the Twisted Fate is able to come right into the middle of it. Psycho, with the lethal tempo stacked up, just has too much damage. And I said when Crimson arrived, he might be able to clean this, but the roots were beautiful from the Lux. The damage comes through. Psycho manages to survive. Absolutely incredible fight, and just like that, the gold is in favor of Supernova by 1,500. This is a back and forth bloodbath at 13.
Look at that look at that jump right there. Like, you might have been in a trampoline or something with all of that gold going over in favor of Supernova, and they're gonna get even more on the map with this Mountain Dragon secured. They're now in a very good position to try and snowball a potential soul on the horizon in the future moments of this game. Will be that ocean, so a lot of extra sustain will be very, very valuable, especially towards that top side.
Do you know when you were on a trampoline as a kid and you'd get like the super bounce where you go like really high from your friend?
Dude, don't even get me started on the super bounce.
Supernova just got the super bounce, Grapes. Super bounce. They just went from 1.5 in the hole to 1.5 ahead. They're able to pick up their second dragon too, and now this Caitlyn unlocked on the map is going to come mid and start working on these tower plates that are just now falling. However, getting these towers down is exactly what this composition wants to do. So yeah, super bounce Caitlyn feels pretty damn good for Supernova right now.
Looks like they're going to continue to try and rein in onto the mid turret, but looks like Radiance has something to say about it. Look at Bluster, just going to get the kick onto Baco, but here comes Porsche with the needlework. Going to get stunned up for a long time, though. Can he get the scissors to continue to snap? One almost able to take him down, but they will trade 1-for-1 as Porsche falls as well as Baco. Just going to be that singular trade for the moment. Fire Theft has joined the fight down into the mid lane. Doesn't look like either side wants to go too aggressive with a lot of major cooldowns down.
Whew. Yeah, Porsche did a lot of damage right there with the needlework. We haven't really talked too much about the Gwen. Other than the Rift Herald play, there's been very little focus paid to the top side of the map, but he's got a lot of farm and a Rift Maker completed, and that needlework did a lot. Unfortunately, Gwen was no longer immune, so it was a 1-for-1. And Supernova manages to stabilize. However, summoners were blown on both teams, and it is Radiance that is first in position around this Rift Herald.
looks like they're going to make their way over to it. Bluster and Light Pulse just trying to maybe do a two-man Wrecking Crew onto it, but looks like actually Shelly will get to live to see a little bit longer of a day, but now with the rest of Supernova around here, Fire Thefts might be the one to start it up instead. It's a whole lot of trading back and forth, but looks like Rift Herald will be going over to Supernova. I can definitively say that at this point.
Yeah, definitely. It was just simply came down to a faster reset. Ryze went top, no teleport available, and Realm Warp, unfortunately, is not global for the Ryze, and it doesn't even quite have the range of this Twisted Fate. Crimson will be able to pick up some farm here in the side lane, but with Ariandel on the way down, you'd have to think that not too much more will be taken, and Supernova just doing a beautiful job controlling the map. And we've mentioned you want your Caitlyn working on turrets, and now with the Rift Herald to do so as well. You can just transition your pressure around the map and easily start to take these ones down. And once all three outers are down, you've got two dragons, and it becomes so difficult for Radiance to face check into the river up against a comp with Caitlyn. Lux, they can one-shot you from so far away. Twisted Fate even. So much pick potential. So right now, this Caitlyn composition built around Psycho and this bot lane here for Supernova is being executed nearly flawlessly by Supernova despite the rough early game.
We've entered a bit of an interesting point in the game here, Hawk. I think when you think about Radiance, you think about Bluster and you think about Crimson making these really proactive plays around the map, going to different lanes. But now if we enter the mid game and Radiance isn't super far ahead, in fact, they're just a little bit behind, it'll be interesting to see if Crimson and Bluster can make some of these different moves with not as much of a formulaic approach. We're going to see right here, Bluster with the kick in onto Psycho, nearly answering my prayers as we speak. It will be a trade onto Raheen in return, but here come the teleports and the fight is still going down.
Porsche is doing so much damage.
Onto Beko as well, but Fire Theft is healing up, still providing so much frontline. Ariandel and Pseudo are basically untouched as Pseudo hits that root in onto the Gwen, almost taking him down, and it will be the final kill going over. Fire Theft with the Ignite ticking will survive, and Pseudo is continuing to chase in onto Light Pulse, who will get away. Supernova once again coming out with a very, very, very slight edge in that fight.
Bluster may have found the highlight reel kick onto Psycho, but guess what? It's not just the Caitlyn that's fed. They managed to take him down, but Ariandel, Beko, Fire Theft, and even Pseudo are doing the damage on top. They manage to win the fight in the end. What an incredible team fight. Both these teams going blow for blow here in this game. And guess what? We're not done. Dragon in 45 seconds. Both teams coming off a reset. Porsche teleport is coming up now. There are no flank wards, however. It's going to be a tense fight.
Remember when he said that this was going to be a game that was worth the wait, Hawk?
Yeah.
I think so far it is absolutely delivered. 23 kills in 18 minutes. Such a close game right now between Supernova and Radiance. Gold now slowly going in favor of Supernova as they are now gathering priority around the Dragon Pit. Remember, Supernova picked up the first two drakes of the game as well. Will be that sole point if they end up getting this one.
Yeah, it would be absolutely massive for their composition as...
Oh, wow.
I mean, yeah. Wow, indeed. There's the pick potential. Right
One
there.
gold card.
Yeah.
And that's a dead karma on the screen here as Light Pulse goes down. Looks like Dragon isn't even going to be focused up here for Supernova just yet, as they know that they have the time now in the 4v5. Instead, it'll be Radiance maybe even trying to rotate over to the top side of the map to try to get something in return. But it's actually, yeah, now Supernova pushing down mid. Very interesting kind of chain of events that have unlocked here, Hawk.
Yeah, I mean, Supernova has the Rift Herald, remember. They didn't actually have to use it to take down the mid tower. They just brute forced it with this Caitlyn, so this is almost certain to drop. And it's just so hard to face check up against Supernova's composition, especially when not only are you against the Caitlyn, Lux, and Twisted Fate, but you don't have any tanks on your comp. I mean, your team excels at controlling space and staying alive once the fight has started. But before then, each of your individual members is exceptionally vulnerable if they do catch some CC. So, as we mentioned, Soul Point, Ocean Soul Point, to keep replenishing those resources throughout a potential siege later into the game just becomes so deadly. Ariandel getting a little spicy in the mid lane, but not going to go for anything.
He hovers the gold card and he has flash. You have to always just keep an eye on Ariandel. Any minute, somebody else on Radiance could be dead, as he has just been an absolute menace in this game so far. 6-2-7, 12 stacks on the Medjais. This mid laner here for Supernova going up against this Prodigy in Crimson. Definitely doing a whole lot of work.
Yeah, and as the game slows down, another player that I want to talk about, we said his name a lot this game, but Bluster really putting on a nice mechanical performance in this one. 4-3-4 on the Lee Sin. He's been in most of the plays for his team, and I feel like has been a big part of the reason why his team is still actually in this game. We saw the highlight reel kick there on a Psycho, and even though the fight didn't really go their way, I mean, you would love to see that out of a young player in their second Proving Grounds game, first one on stream, being willing to go for the big plays like that is absolutely incredible to see. And, you know, even if it doesn't work out right, just to see that confidence, I feel like that's one of those things that teams want to see out of their young players.
Now, Hawk, it looks like we've kind of finally entered a bit of a lull state here in this game. Got Dragon spawning in about 3.5 minutes. Baron is up, but no team is really in the big position to take it. But right now, looking at Radiance, they're now down about 4,000 gold. I mean, in these next 3.5 minutes before this Dragon spawns, what is going to happen?
Yeah. Well, as the game slows down, we're actually going to have a nice cinematic replay right here of the kick. You can see Bluster puts the ward over the wall, dash. Oh, no, it's this resonating strike, dash, flash, kick into Psycho. Beautiful stuff right there. And they're ultimately able to take him down despite not winning the fight, but just absolutely beautiful stuff right there. Incredible play coming through from the jungler. An incredible team fight from Supernova to win it without their ADC, as the Baron dance has started, and both teams just seem to be posturing around it.
Oh, and it looks like Supernova has already pulled the trigger. Crimson is so low, nearly taken down. Is going to get pushed away before he ends up falling. But Ariandel is still hungry, still looking for more blood onto Supernova.
They're still going for it.
He's going to get stunned up, but here comes Bluster taking down Ariandel before getting traded back. Porsche is doing a whole lot of damage here with the needlework, as Crimson has the teleport and is going for the reset. Look at Porsche, though, looking for all of the kills with all of the scissors, picking up a double kill as Pseudo goes down as well. Crimson coming forward with the teleport, getting the return fight over for Radiance, who are now strong in the 4v2.
Yeah, Supernova fumbling the bag a little bit here in the mid lane. Actually, the Crescent Guard ultimate from Becco actually knocking Crimson over the wall and keeping him alive on 1 HP. And then we mentioned, remember, the strength of this composition with the Caitlyn for Supernova is forcing the enemy to face check, but hold that thought, it might not be done.
Raheen is frontlining for his team right now as he's chasing down Fire Theft and Psycho. Teleport coming in, I believe it's from Ariandel to ward off the rest of Radiance, as they will get out without taking down the Baron. But that was a very, very big turn of events. It looked like Supernova were starting to run away with it, Hawk, but right now, we're right back to even.
Yeah, fortunately for Supernova, they prevent a Baron, so it's just kills and pressure going the way of Radiance, but no massive advantage being taken away from them, so it's not quite a throw. But yeah, as I was saying, the strength of this Caitlyn comp is that you could force Radiance to face check into you and then blow people up. But when they're actually set up in the mid lane like that, you've already committed onto the Ryze and he survived. Once the Gwen's able to get going with the Karma and the Jhin and the Lee Sin running you down, that's where this Radiance composition really excels. So big props to Radiance for being able to execute in that fight even when behind and find a good play for themselves. Buy themselves time in this game with Soul coming up in a minute.
Yeah, and right now it is Radiance who has that inner positioning. Porsche did get chunked out pretty low, but does have that Riftmaker for a lot of healing potential.
Mission.
Look at Fire Theft, though. Looking for a potential flank if the rest of Radiance have to back out. Porsche very, very, very far forward, as the Dragon is about to spawn in 40 seconds. Remember, this is Soul for Supernova. Radiance have to go.
Yeah, but look at those Caitlyn traps, and those Cleavers doing so much damage from Fire Theft. Ariandel is on the side with a goal, looking, waiting for a target route onto 2. Not going to amount to much, but look at this. Have pressure on the mid wave. That's huge.
It is so tense right now. Radiance just need to get this Dragon down. But look at Porsche! He dashes forward and gets instantly one-shot by Ariandel. Big shutdown going in onto the Gwen, and that is the primary damage dealer at the moment for Radiance. Already down. There's no curtain call available for Raheen for any sort of steal. And with that, in the 5v4 situation, Supernova are going to try and get this Soul.
Yeah, I don't know if Porsche didn't have W or if it was on cooldown, or if he just didn't see the gold card coming or what. Might have to see that one again, but not using that one right there. Gets caught up by the Twist of Fate and just one-shot by the rest of Supernova. And yeah, the fight's just over at that point, as you said. Porsche's been doing the majority of the damage in these team fights. The Ryze only on 2 items isn't quite enough. We did see as well, again, Supernova is just making it impossible for Radiant to face check into them. And once Radiant got into the river, well, Supernova said, sure, we'll just play on the mid wave instead and still force you into a bad fight. So just really beautiful positioning from Supernova this game. Outside of that one blunder in mid lane, I feel like they've been playing exceptionally well since 8 minutes into the game.
Every time you see Ariandel walking up with the gold card, you just in my head I'm hearing like the Jaws.
Yeah.
You saw the gold card onto Porsche, who's a champion that has a lot of healing potential and a lot of sustainability in their kit. Just got instantly taken down due to the stun that was available onto that Twisted Fate. So all eyes have to continue to be on Ariandel here, who has had an absolutely stellar performance here in this second game of the Open Qualifier, hoping to try and turn this performance into a win.
Yeah, he's actually had it for a while, but I want to point this out. Ariandel has a Medgice. Now, he died, so it's only 8 stacks. However, he has a Medgice, so you'll love to see it, as well as a rapid fire cannon for those long-range gold cards, which might have been what tripped up Porsche potentially in that dragon fight. And he's even got the Summoner Spellbook Smite, just to be a good team player, help secure this objective. So Ariandel, he can do it all. The Swiss Army knife of League of Legends is on the Rift right now in this Twisted Fate. But yeah, as you said, just an incredible performance coming through from him. I feel like both these teams really have been firing on all cylinders. There's been some misplays, but also a lot of great outplays. And as we've said, a lot of rookies in this game, that's what you want to see. You want to see them be willing to go for the big plays.
Yeah, I mean, if some mistakes happen at this level, not the biggest concern. And you want to just see the spots of potential, especially this early in a season with rosters that haven't been scrimming together for very, very long. And it's so far, we've seen a lot of really impressive stuff. The macro coming out of Radiance in the mid-jungle 2v2 early on, as well as Ariandel's just ability to roam all over the map have just been absolutely valuable, incredibly valuable.
I don't really know what Crimson's going for here, because I'm going to be honest, I don't think you kill this Dr. Mundo with a Rise and a Gwen. He's just going to immune the CC and walk out, but no, they are going.
Let's see. Looks like they're going to try to limit test this. Porsche is already tanking up the tower. The Needlework is coming through. Fire Theft is healing up a lot. Will he get a trade onto Porsche before he dies? The answer is yes, as looks like Porsche kind of knew he was dead, ended up just taking the 1-for-1 to try and get that tower down as fast as possible. But yeah, Crimson goes for the roam, ends up sort of working out, but now take a look at Supernova. They're headed towards the Baron.
Light Pulse died. I missed that entirely. Light Pulse got taken down in the mid lane, so Supernova actually has a 4v3 on the map, and Fire Theft has teleport when he respawns. Crimson, his bot lane, has the teleport as well. Curtain will be called.
They don't take it super fast right now, but it's about 5,000 HP on the Baron. Looks like Bluster is in the area. They don't take it super fast, but it is only still a 2v4 with Crimson pushing it down on the bottom side. Can Bluster get some sort of steal? The answer is no, as a double smite for Supernova ends up coming through. Bluster does manage to get out with his life. Looks like Crimson just decided to go for the split push, taking it down that inner turret instead.
Yeah, really nicely done from Supernova. They're just able to threaten the Baron. No steal comes through. Nice objective bounty for Crimson, but we will get to see the pick onto Light Pulse, just maybe flying a little too close to the sun. Twisted Fate. Oh, ult over the wall. With the true sight means that there's no fog of war. Able to catch him with the gold card. Kick is not enough. The Karma was already dead. Beautifully done right there from the side of Supernova. And again, the pick potential onto the Karma. We saw it around the third dragon. We now see it at Baron, and Supernova is dominating in the neutral objectives.
Poor Light Pulse, man. I feel like that's like the third or fourth time he just has not been able to play the video game. He's getting instantly one-shot from like seemingly like a mile away with Pseudo, with Ariandel, with Psycho, all coming through. And it's just
what makes
hard being a support, man.
What makes it even worse now is he doesn't have flash. So next time Twisted Fate ultimate is back up, I have a feeling I know who they're going to go for. So yeah, poor Light Pulse indeed. It's hard because it wasn't even like he was that out of position, but it was just a tough situation all around. And when you're up against Twisted Fate, everywhere is out of position. So he does get taken down when his team is committing 2v1 on the bottom side.
Look at this.
Yeah, here we go.
Here comes Bluster and Crimson coming forward. Ariandel forced to flash away, but look at the final spark coming out from Pseudo. Raheen is so low. TP coming in from Fire Theft might have been a little bit over ambitious, but watch the rest of the team. Destiny has been popped. No gate coming through for Ariandel. Fire Theft is continuing to look to just try and distract the rest of Radiance.
He's just buying time for his team. They're pushing.
Psycho and Pseudo are pushing down in the bottom lane. Fire Theft will be the sacrificial Mundo, but the inhibitor turrets have been cracked open, and the base of Radiance is now under threat. Psycho, Ariandel, and Pseudo are going to try and finish it right here, right now. Raheen has the curtain call pop. Nexus Tower number 1 is down. Porsche already chunked to about 40% HP. The curtain call will be enough to distract the rest of Radiance and get them away. But that was a very, very scary situation.
Yeah, and a costly situation. Not only do you lose an inhibitor, not only do you lose the Nexus turret, but that's both of your teleports now down. Granted, Fire Thefts is also down from the previous play around the Baron, but that is a massive win here for Supernova, just goading Radiance into trying to take a fight, and they do so successfully. That Mundo just so hard to take down. One sacrificial madman is a small price to pay for a ticket into the enemy base, potentially, as this game eclipses 30 minutes. Ariandel, the gold card damage is just immense.
Does get one here onto Raheen. Look at the amount of poke damage that is able to come through from Psycho, but take a look at the other side. Pseudo is forced to flash away already as Porsche has popped the needlework onto Fire Theft.
Becco's getting low.
Is trying to take a whole lot of damage, but look at Porsche. Gets taken down by Pseudo, and now Fire Theft is looking to chase. Raheen has to Gale Force away from the final spark. Not going to get away from the damage, but will get away from the rest of the team. Supernova getting this advantage, and at a very, very crucial time, that Elder Dragon is just about to spawn and is getting ready to be taken down.
Yeah, and you'd have to think with this one, they might be able to end the game. Supernova, they've earned another neutral objective off of another one team fight. Only 5,000, well now 6,000 gold in the lead with the Elder dropping. But it just doesn't matter when their composition is so long range. Radiance, they just can't get close enough. Except to the Mundo, the Zinzao, who are so good at staying alive. The Crescent Guard, the Sterix, the ultimate on the Mundo as well. So many ways to get out of dodge, and they've done just that. Now with the Elder, you can't even step up if you are Radiance. That's another inhib dropping.
Porsche has just respawned at this point. Oh, look at the burn.
That's a Lux.
Onto Raheen.
That's a
You have
Lux.
to be really careful. And this is a really crazy composition that Supernova have come up with. You land one single bit of CC, whether it be a Lux Bind, a Caitlyn Trap, a TF Gold card, and there's just so much more damage that can come out. You have the Final Spark, you have the Ace in the Hole coming out from Psycho, even some headshots that could come through, and it's just so hard for Radiance to even play the game, as if they take one faulty misstep and they're just dead.
Yeah, definitely. It's just impossible. Everyone can be one shot on your team. Right now, you're looking for that miracle pick, that miracle scenario, where you've got that one ward that doesn't get cleared and you can TP to it once those come back up and available, or you've got someone out of position that you're able to find with another time bluster, kick flash. Something of that nature is what you need at this point in the game, because fighting front to back against a 4-item Caitlyn, a 3.5-item Twist of Fate, a 2-item Zinzao with a stopwatch on board, and don't forget, we were talking about Lux damage. That's a Shadow Flame and a Crown and a Blighting Crystal. Yeah. It's just so difficult for Radiance to approach these fights.
Yeah, it's the Pseudo's putting on his carry pants in this game.
Yeah.
We're going for the full damage Lux. No Shirelias, no Moonstone, none of that. Gonna go straight for the one-shots, and I might have the actually potential to do some one-shots here with the Elder Dragon still affecting the members here of Supernova. The final inner turret of the Radiance base will fall, as Supernova are gonna try and make it inhibitor number 3.
Yeah, and I think they will in short order. The Elder is still on, so there's not really any hope of winning a fight. It should wear off pretty soon here, as Twisted Fate Ultimate is coming just to zone them off. That's triple inhib now in favor of Super.
Radiance in a bit of a dire situation at this point. Elder Dragon will, go away shortly. So there's still some potential for Radiance to maybe fight a 5v5, but the Baron is spawning in 10 seconds. Burns are still coming through for the time being, and with that Ocean Soul as well, Supernova can just dance around the pit as much as they want, or maybe go for a play like this.
Oh, the old school Supernova Death... good Bluster. Check by Bluster. Very smart, as Pseudo wanted to eviscerate somebody right there.
I mean, if they walked a little bit closer, might have been just that.
He said he was going to delete a champion. Unfortunately, every skill shot missed, and now here comes Porsche.
Uh-oh, here comes Porsche. Needlework already under use right now. The healing is coming through. Look at it, it's absolutely massive. Raheen almost taking down Fire Theft, but Porsche will fall to Pseudo. Nice kick in onto Psycho by Bluster, but it doesn't look like Radiance has enough damage to do anything about it. Psycho forced to flash away, has the Immortal Shield though to keep himself alive. 4 dead on the side of Radiance, and it might be 5 in just a little bit as Light Pulse has to flash away. Supernova are 5 strong and are in the base of Radiance, and they will go 2-0 to start off day 1 of the Proving Grounds Open Qualifier after taking down Light.
It's just so hard to fight if you're Radiance, and Supernova make it look so easy. Beautiful stuff. They will take down the Nexus. They will take down Radiance, and they're now in the top 8 teams in the bracket, sitting at 2-0.
When you take a look at the Supernova roster, Hawk, if you're not a super big follower of the collegiate scene, you might not recognize so many of these names. You might think, okay, I saw Ariandel on OQ last year. I saw Psycho on some of the wildcard teams, but Fire Theft, Deco, and Pseudo, I don't know too much about them. But they came to play, and they are showing why they are worthy to be playing here on one of the best well-known amateur rosters here in North America. Supernova with a very, very impressive win over Radiance, showing that they got the macro to, push this team to the next level.
Yeah, and there was a lot of questions coming in to this tournament about Supernova. I feel like there's a lot of questions about a lot of teams, but when you're bringing in this many rookies that haven't been around the scene for that long, there's always going to be questions. And, when we asked the coach of Supernova what he thought about his team, he said, look, we've got a lot of rookies, but by the end of the season, they're going to, be looking at Academy off. They're going to be one of the top teams in amateur, and taking down Radiance right here in the second game of the season, that's a good start. This team is already looking so strong. They played around a clearly defined win condition so exceptionally well. Maybe they can clean up the early game. Maybe they don't fall so far behind and make the game a little bit more difficult for themselves, but they never were out of the game at all. They were only about 1,000 gold down. And once their composition got going, once they took down that bot lane turret, it just blew the game wide open.
I mean, just big shout outs to Ariandel there on the Twisted Fate, going all over the map, making so many plays mid, late, and early game, and really just helping his team get the snowball rolling. Fire Theft became an unstoppable menace up on that Dr. Mundo towards the end of the game. Psycho on the Caitlyn had so many amazing kills, and it was all really thanks to a lot of the playmaking that Beko and Ariandel ended up going for. And Radiance, on the other side, did have some flashy macro plays themselves, especially towards the early game. It just felt like Hawk towards the later stage of the game, they haven't really found out too many situations of, playing from behind, and they're just gonna have to work on that.
Yeah, it's hard when your towers are down to not get beat to neutral objective setups, but Radiance got beat to neutral objective setups. And when, again, Caitlyn, Lux, Twisted Fate, if you're getting beat by those champions to neutral objectives, it's just impossible to play, unfortunately. And it seems like they never really cracked the code on how to win the team fights, as we do get to see the damage charts. And Porsche did pretty big damage. Unfortunately, just wasn't enough.
I mean, Porsche on the Gwen. You saw the amount of healing that went through. I think he literally regenerated almost his entire health bar in that last fight, but unfortunately for him was just not enough to get the win over to Radiance. They will fall to 1-1, play against another team of that same record tomorrow in round 3. But just taking a look at the gold graph really quick, we saw that little jump, the big trampoline jump, so to speak, Hawk,
the moon bounce
mentioned earlier on in the broadcast, but it just continued to snowball over and over again after that.
Yeah, I know. You get moon bounce once, and that's all you need. You're set. You've got that moon bounce fixed. Supernova, yeah, they took it to the moon and never really looked back. We do see a downward spike on that one team fight that they did fumble around mid lane, but again, was not a catastrophic fumble. It was, slightly in favor of Radiance by a couple of kills, and then Radiance wasn't able to take Baron, and it was just a reset after that. And then Supernova promptly took control of the game once again, not letting a neutral objective go since the first Rift Herald of the game, which remember was a trade of first dragon for first herald, or maybe second dragon for first herald. So Supernova really doing a phenomenal job dictating the river.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm really excited to see them continue to show what they've got as they continue to move forward here in the open qualifier here. Only one win away now for securing that crucial spot into the group stage of the Unified Proving Grounds qualifier. But Hawk, that is going to be it for the broadcast tonight. Make sure to tune in tomorrow as we got the final 3 games of the group stage. Going to finalize who is going to be in the group stage starting on Wednesday and who will be on the outside looking in. We'll see you then.